Welcome to another episode on the Growth Leadership Cafe. My name is Adesoa, and if this is your first time coming across my YouTube channel, you're very welcome. On this channel, I talk about all things leadership for first-time managers. So if you're in some form of supervisory role for the first time, this is a space for you. So click on that subscription bell and that notification button so you get a buzz every time I post a video. Now, moving on to the topic of today. Today, I'm going to be speaking about outcome-based leadership. And I'm talking about this from two specific perspectives that I'll be covering throughout this video. The first part is about flexible work arrangement and the changing landscape in the workforce across the world on a global scale. The second part is about line of sight leadership. And by this, I mean, do you have to be visibly seen to be busy to be considered busy or occupied with work or doing your job? So for managers, in your role as a first-time manager, how are you supervising your team? Do you need them to come to work every day so you see that they're in meetings and they're actively doing stuff for you to have some sort of peace in your heart that they're doing their job? Or are you more focused on results? And when I say outcome-based leadership, I'm talking about results. So the first part, talking about flexible work arrangements. Now, one thing that the pandemic has taught us is that the labor force, the workforce is very fragile, and one thing can totally disrupt how things are done. For so long, we have been used to showing up to work and getting things done and going back home, and now we had to quickly shift into a different style of working, which many of us may not have been used to pre-pandemic, right? And now we're having to modify how we work, modify our processes, how we engage people. And for businesses who were unable to adapt, would pretty much have not been able to survive this pandemic that is still in many ways in progress. We're slowly coming out of it, but it's still there, and many countries are, finding their way out of this endeavor or experience, as you may put it. So now, what does that mean for the world of work and for you specifically as a manager, as a leader, working with a team of people to get things done? The first part is, what does your flexible work arrangement or work from home procedure look like? Now, with slowly coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of companies now releasing their new work from home procedure or some kind of flexible work procedure arrangement for workers to either start to return back to work with more on-site presence or returning fully, or some form of hybrid work structure. Now, in that regard, we're seeing a lot of pushback where people are like, well, we survived this, why should we go back to the office when I can do the same thing from my home or wherever I am in the world and still be able to perform my job efficiently? Now that is one argument, but where is this resistance really coming from? For people in management, I'm specifically speaking to you. Does this impact how you engage your clients, your business partners, stakeholders, whatever that looks like? And what has the pandemic taught you? So before we quickly start to jump back into going back to what things were like before the pandemic, what has the pandemic taught your specific business organization, and how can you modify? Because we're seeing the trends that people are now opting for some type of flexible work structure. They want to be able to do more things with their time, and they want to be able to increase their income. And a lot of things came out of the pandemic with things like job cuts and pay cuts and loss of jobs completely. And so inflation, high inflation. So we know that what things were like pre-pandemic has evolved. Our standard of living, the cost of living has gone up. So this means that people are finding creative and alternative ways to supplement their income to make sure that it's sustainable for them long term. So for your business, when we talk about outcome-based leadership, why are we fighting so hard to revert back to what things were like pre-pandemic? If this current system works, we've seen how we're even able to attract more people through diversifying the ways that we engage our audience. What is the pushback? Where is that really coming from? So for you as a manager, when I speak about outcome-based leadership, I'm referring to, is your team getting the job done? Do you set the expectations and they're getting it done? Whether they don't follow the same processes as you or your style of doing things, are they getting the job done? If they are getting the job done, then that's what should count. Realistically, that is what should count. They're performing their job, there's no issues, they're meeting their deadlines, they're showing up to their meetings, whether virtually or not. That's what should really matter, is focusing on the outcomes and the well-being of your staff. The second aspect of outcome-based leadership I want to speak about is the idea of line of sight leadership, where again, we have been so used to seeing our coworkers, our team members, employees, staff work in our presence and around us, so there is that appearance of business going on, and sometimes we can now tell that that is not always the case, right? I can appear busy, doesn't mean I'm actively working on something that is work related, right? Even if I'm sitting right next to you, right? So what does that mean for you as a manager? Going back to the idea of a flexible work arrangement, I want you as a manager in your position as leader, speaking to upper management, how has the pandemic impacted your business? Is that in-person engagement absolutely necessary for your business to thrive and survive? Or have you found other ways to still meet your outcomes or even increase your outcomes despite the pandemic? So going back to that idea of flexible work arrangement, now there is a study that was being done by Flex Jobs between July and August 2021, and in that study, 58% of respondents report that they want full-time remote work post-pandemic, and 39% of the respondents report that they want some type of flexible work arrangement. This means that is a 97% of workers wanting some type of flexible work arrangement. The statistics tell the story. So for you and for your business, how do you retain top talent? How do you ensure that your staff, their well-being is well taken care of? These are some of the needs that go beyond your work and what you offer to your employees, to how people are thriving in this new age and post-pandemic. So when I see a lot of resistance, and read about the stats on the resistance from corporate and the big sharks and senior management wanting to get their employees back into the office because we want to ensure that they're doing their job, and we have some kind of reporting mechanisms that we've had to enforce for workers to be able to track what they're doing throughout their day and minute by minute what they're doing throughout their shift. Like, it does not really matter, because I can list a truckload of things that I did today, meanwhile I did not really get them done, right? But how do you really verify that? So this means that we want to operate in a system of trust. We want to project trust, because what you give is what you receive in return. If we are constantly trying to measure and check and have all these tools and systems to track and confirm if our employees are working, you're only fostering a culture of distrust, which is just going to lead to unwanted circumstances or outcomes, including loss of great talent. Right? You can't retain those who are doing amazing work for you because you have all these processes and procedures that are really stifling growth and autonomy within your organization. So I hope you've learned a thing or two from this video. In summary, I want you to think about your work from home procedures and what the pandemic has really taught your organization during this time, and how you can incorporate that into your work arrangement, that flexible work arrangement. but also in terms of line of sight leadership, that you have to visibly see someone being busy for you to have some peace in your heart that they're actually doing their job. So that being said, I hope that you're able to take one lesson or two out of this video. And if you have any questions or follow up on this matter, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section and I will try to respond to you. You can also shoot me an email or follow me on social media and send me a direct message. I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, see you next time. Bye for now.